in the federal guidelines, where you can have 10 machine and get 1 year of community service and 1 year in.
If anyone knows anything about 50 Cent, it's that it's never a good idea to cross him. He is among the most brutal hip-hop artists when it comes to open conflicts. Additionally, T.I. had to learn that lesson the hard way. The long-standing accusations of snitching that have followed T.I. like a shadow have been the source of their friction for years. That moniker has remained with him in spite of all of his accomplishments. Additionally, 50 was among the first and loudest people to criticize it.
I said, how you feel when them New York like 50 and all of me be trying to do all of those?
I'ma tell you something. When you're fighting the man with no arms, expect to get kicked.
T.I. first made an effort to ignore it, remaining composed as 50 had his routine vaccinations. However, the back and forth heated up with time. T.I. eventually retaliated, offering to fight 50 on his birthday and daring him to a 20-track VZ duel. Even while it was a daring move, 50's trademark pettiness simply drove him to double down. He discovered the notorious 2008 Crimestoppers commercial, in which T.I. encouraged people to report crimes, and the internet went crazy over it. Ironically, T.I. and 50 weren't always at odds. They respected one another after working together on music, complementing one another, and leaving strong business and entertainment legacies.
So Tough, to everyone listening to it, is an awesome song. Listen carefully. Actually, you don't have to even listen that carefully. There's a line in there directed at another rapper in the game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What line? What rapper you talking about?
It was a line that has you questioning that you have, is it true you have the best lawyers in the game?
I feel like I do.
Okay.
That's great.
And you asked them a question that if you got caught with 10 weapons in your car, you would have seen 10 years,
So
maybe
what,
9.
What makes you feel like there's a line to a rapper?
It seemed to be very coincidental with the timing of things that are going on.
That's like.
Will you deliver the line for me 1 second? I don't want to do it injustice.
Yeah, you use real life situations to create something that's entertaining without being specific. That's entertainment to me. Like if I had an issue, when have you known me to be indirect with an issue?
Oh, you're pretty direct.
Right, so if I had a problem with any artist, trust me, they would know. You see what I'm saying? When I take it and I write that, it's because a lot of people think that. And they're not saying it because they're cowardly people. You see what I'm saying? So when you write it and you put it there and you leave it and say, watch, let me watch and see what happens. And there's so much controversy around it, you didn't say anything. Then you go, see, they think that. They just won't say it to them because they're a bunch of punks.
Will you drop the line for me? That line that starts off with about having the best.
I got the best lawyers money can buy. They said it would have got me 10 or maybe 9. I said, well, how do you explain how homie breathes? I said, to keep your mouth shut or you eat the cheese. You so tough.
Are you telling me that's not directed at a specific rapper?
Well, I can't. Well, my
One more thing.
intentions, if I have a problem, you know, me, my MO, and I would just say something. You know, so it's not really directed at him. It's me taking real life situations that these things are relevant to hip hop. Period. You see what I'm saying? So I take it and I make something that's interesting enough for people to sink their teeth into, and then I move forward. If you have beef, then we make it beef.
Can you understand? Well, you know me, I'm direct too. Is that line about T.I.?
Absolutely, for the public to decide.
The solution is found in a sequence of actions that influenced how the industry perceived T.I., as well as how the two individuals perceived one another. They had a long history together, and their conflict didn't start suddenly. Despite his reputation for trolling and insulting people on social media, 50's problem with T.I. appears to have its origins in a few pivotal incidents. The most significant was T.I.'s persistent insistence on a versus fight against 50, which the Queens mogul obviously never took seriously. For 50, it was desperation rather than confidence. However, T.I. has previously caused problems with East Coast rappers like 50 long before that. Following the controversial Crimestoppers commercial in 2007, the tension truly became apparent. At the time, T.I. was facing severe gun-related charges and might have received a 20-year sentence. Rather than remaining silent, he issued a PSA asking people to report crimes and assist in preventing violence in their communities. He would be plagued by that one choice for the remainder of his professional life. Although the move may have been intended to demonstrate maturity and accountability, it conveyed the wrong impression in hip-hop culture, particularly at the time. It was perceived by many as assisting law enforcement, and that stigma is difficult to overcome. The rap community was immediately split by the advertisement. His street credibility was questioned by peers, and rumors began to circulate like wildfire. T.I. was branded as the last guy who should be discussing street rules by 50 Cent, who was among the first to publicly call it out.
They want to try, look, even for me personally, my character, they try to attack my character. They'll say he a rat or he just that. Yeah. All you gotta do is ask him who I told him. I ain't never told him no in my life. Yeah. In the Prime situation, look at this case. It'll tell you who told him. Right. My name ain't in it.
For 50, it was more than simply negative PR. It served as evidence that T.I. had disregarded an unwritten norm. 50 Cent wasted no time in expressing his emotions. On G-Unit's track, he proceeded directly to the booth. "You're really tough." Everyone was trying to figure out what the 50 drop bars meant. Get 10 machine guns to knock you down. Get just a year. Don't talk to me, please. You speak with him. You are conversing with them. He implied that someone out there was making deals rather than serving time by adding more sentences about lawyers and remaining silent. The guessing time for fans was short. It was clear from the date and context that he was alluding to T.I. and that notorious 2007 arrest. This is the tale. Federal agents stormed in and arrested T.I. on serious weapons charges just hours before he was scheduled to perform at the BET Hip Hop Awards. His own bodyguard, who had been secretly working with the feds, turned over 2 silencers and 3 machine guns that T.I. had allegedly paid $12,000 for. The catch is that T.I.'s possession of those guns was a serious federal offense because he was already a convicted felon. However, his penalty stunned the business after everything was said and done. The typical punishment for such crimes would have been 10 years in prison, but he left with an incredibly reduced term, 500 hours of community service, a brief indeterminate jail sentence, and a year of house arrest. That leniency raised eyebrows across the rap world.
Like, you see a snitch, slap him when you see him, knock his nose off. So the next time I'm out, instead of asking for a picture like a little hoe ass, come on, knock my nose out if you think I'm a snitch. Come on, quit smiling in my face trying to get in my section. Don't play with me, nigga. You think you're talking to? Play with your name. King never gave no information to get anybody in no now time with no police. If I am working with the police, it'll be to get him to shoot you. What you talking about?
To many, such as 50 Cent, it didn't add up to, "You're really tough." 50 asked in the lyrics how someone could be charged with that serious of a crime and still return home so quickly. It was an obvious message. He was implying that T.I.'s plea agreement might have included terms, including collaboration with law enforcement. In response to a direct interview question about whether he was discussing T.I., Coy stated that the people should make the final decision, but by that point, the harm had already been done. Years of rumors were stoked by the song, and the Spy label started to cast a shadow over T.I.'s reputation that he was never able to completely escape, regardless of how successful he became afterward. T.I.'s name didn't need to be mentioned by 50 Cent, if you truly read between the lines. Already, the message was very apparent. His lyrics spoke for themselves. He was suggesting that T.I. had already been called a snitch by the public, and that 50 was the only one with the guts to bring that discussion to light. Now, T.I. made an effort to remain tactful. When he was questioned about the circumstances surrounding G-Unit's brutal drop of you, T.I. dismissed the shots as a normal part of the game and continued to give 50 the benefit of the doubt. However, let's face it, T.I. wasn't exactly in a position to respond forcefully because federal investigators were observing every step he made. He kept a low profile because any mistake may have ruined his contract. That component, of course, wasn't permanent. In 2020, the specters of the past returned with greater vigor than before. In the midst of the hip-hop controversy around whistleblowing, that old Crimestoppers commercial reappeared. At the same time, Tekashi 6X99 gained notoriety for his court testimony against his Nin-Tre co-workers. When the old video of T.I. imploring people to report crimes suddenly came back into circulation, 50 couldn't help but join the commotion. Using his signature snark, he posted on Twitter, "This is the first song I'm going to play. You so tough." T.I.'s name, the Crimestoppers video, and a sample of the song that first called him out are all tagged in the post.
How are you dealing with when like the 50 cents are coming at you?
Well, I mean, honestly, man, like, to be perfectly honest with you, man, I gotta deal with each situation as how I hear it come out of the person's mouth. You can misinterpret songs, lyrics, you know what I'm saying? When you're being interviewed and someone asks you, how do you feel about this? I gotta take that. I gotta take your verbal rather than listen to your lyrics and jump to a conclusion. And when I heard him speaking on it, he said he wasn't talking about it, you know what I'm saying? And me and 50 always had a decent rapport, you know. It wasn't never nothing negative. So, and like he said it's in conversation. At the same time, he said, man, he never had a problem with saying people's names when he's speaking on them. And like that's not like 50. If he going at somebody, he usually say their name and make it known. It's usually not ever whether or not. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's just unnecessary to jump to a conclusion and, you know, create an issue where there is none.
It was calculated for maximum impact. Petty, trolling, and pure 50. Naturally, T.I. was unable to overlook that. He immediately launched into the comments section, retorting that he had never snitched on anyone or collaborated with authorities. He made it apparent that his prior legal issues were resolved through the appropriate procedures rather than by reaching a settlement with the police. However, his approach did not diffuse the situation. Rather, it exacerbated it. In addition to defending himself, T.I. turned the whole thing around on 50. In his reply, he hinted that 50 might be projecting and that he may have had a dubious past with regard to dealing with law enforcement. Tip commented, "The video clip is adorable despite having a bad taste, but I would rather stick to facts. I have never provided any information to law enforcement in order to obtain. No one has time for any crime at all. Can you say the same for 50 Cent?" However, that was just the start. T.I. wasn't satisfied with just one post. He stepped up by posting 50's video on his own Instagram, rekindling their long-running rivalry and openly challenging him to another versus combat. "I'll take this as an acceptance of my catalog challenge," Tip wrote in an angry caption. "We managed to get him. He took the bait. Put this in place so that I may finally put an end to this watermelon head invisible neck ninja." He also didn't stop there. Like your catalog 50 Cent, T.I. continued his assault by disparaging both his legacy and the music of the 1950s, calling the Crimestoppers footage antiquated, out of date, and offensive.
Innocent or guilty, criminal or citizen, that could get them any time for any crime. Say, look, if it's a, sir, did you see such and such and such, do such and such and such? Oh, wait a minute, only time, the only time.
However, since silence doesn't always imply harmony when it comes to 50 Cent, it's unclear if the respect is reciprocal. There are times when it's simply the quiet before the next dose. However, 50 Cent remained oddly silent while T.I. was out there publicly lauding him and asserting that there was mutual respect. Nothing, no explanation, no answer. He didn't refute the story, but he also didn't confirm it.